it comes a season when you got to prune those things off. He said, because if you continue to stay connected to that dead thing, it won't be long before it kills you. So he said, in due season, see, if you ever notice, in the right time when you prune a tree, it saps. Yeah, it hurts the tree a little bit. But in the long run, it's a healing. So sometimes when you cut off dead things, it's going to hurt you a little bit. You know why? Because you're so used to that dead thing being there. But when you cut that dead thing off, initially it's going to hurt you and you might just say, But in the long run, a healing process is about to take place. But you got to first have the courage to say, this is the season where I'm going to do some cutting. So it's some things that's connected, that's dead, that I just got to get rid of. Now, that's one already out the way. That's the dead thing. Next, he says, son, there's also some diseased wood in the camp. Say you got some diseased wood in your camp, son. He said, now this diseased wood is going to stay connected, but it only wants to stay connected to pass on what it has to you. So the dead wood comes in and get connected to you because the dead wood wants to pass the very disease that it's struggling with on to us. So we find ourselves with a disease. The disease slowly begins to eat away at you. And sometimes if you don't go get checked out, by the time you get there, it's already too late in the eyes of the doctor. So God is saying, you need to prune that diseased wood. Now, this is what was important when he spoke to me. He said, now, when you're dealing with this diseased wood, son, he said, I know I'm sounding harsh, but you can't leave that diseased wood in your sight. And I'm, Lord, what you mean by this? He said, son, when you cut the diseased wood, understand that it's okay for you not to feel like you got to keep coming back around that disease. He said, understand that it's okay for you not to keep hanging around that disease. And you know what I felt in my spirit? And this is what I call a sickness. It's the Medusa syndrome. This is what the Medusa syndrome is. The more I look that disease in the eye, the quicker I turn into the very mess that disease is. The very minute I stare at that disease, I become that stone and that sickness that that disease is. Now listen, if you remember Lot, stay with me, because God always got something in his word. Before Lot even ended up in Sodom and Gomorrah, where was Lot at first? He pitched his tent in the direction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Meaning before he ended up in the very mess, he first was looking at the mess. And he looked at the mess long enough, and guess what? He became a part of the very mess that he was staring at. So those disease branches that come to open you up, to give you the very thing that they dealing with, and you think they really trying to help you. You think that disease branch really got something to offer. That disease branch can't offer you anything but death. You already got the life that you're seeking, but that dead branch wants to give you something that's going to allow something to sit on the inside of you that's going to start to eat away at your joy. It's going to start to eat away at your peace. It's going to start to eat away at that rhema word that God put deep down on the inside of you. And at one point in time where you could jump up and just give a word, now you got to struggle to open your mouth. Guess what? You done got hit with a disease. But it's a cure. It's a cure. It's a cure. See, it's a cure for these diseases, and we're going to take care of that. See, but them disease branches in this new season, you got to cut them. And don't feel bad when they still want you to always come around, but you understand what you're trying to get away from. Don't feel obligated that you need to keep looking at that mess. See, you're not going to take me back to what I'm trying to get away from. You my friend, and you know I used to struggle with alcoholism, but you want me to hang out in a bar. You my friend, and you know I struggle with fornication. You know I struggle with adultery, but you want me to go hang out in a strip club. But you my friend. And you tell me I'm going to take you out because I want you to get over what you're going through. No, you just want to give me a disease. Yeah, you just want to give me a disease. So I got to cut you. Yeah, that disease branch got to go. I got to cut the disease. I got to cut the disease. Now that we done dealt with 2 of them, you come down to the 3rd one. After this 3rd one, there's only 2 more left. You come down to the 3rd one. And the 3rd one is the crossing branches. Now these crossing branches, they tricky. But what you'll realize, that crossing branch look like you, talk like you, act like you, but y'all hit it in different directions. That's why it's called a cross, different directions, cross. Now we hit it in different directions. So we look like, act like, talk alike, but really you hit it one way and I'm hit it the other way. Now, you can tell these crossing branches because when we studied it, it said that they constantly hurt one another. Now these crossing branches, you got to understand, it's some people we connected to where every time they got something to say to you, it's always negative. You could be having a great day and you get that phone call. You could be having a great day and you get that knock. And you already know what's about to take place. So you take that deep breath and you prepare yourself. And this crossing branch, no matter what you talk about, they're going to always try to take that conversation back to something to hurt you. See, in the crossing branch, it's not just hurting you, but the crossing branch is hurt itself. So by the crossing branch being hurt, the crossing branch can't stand to see anybody else excited. The crossing branch can't stand to see anybody else moving forward. The crossing branch can't stand to see anybody else getting ahead. But the crossing branch can't let you get too far away because the crossing branch don't want to really see what God has in store for you. So what happens is when the gardener comes out and he looks, oh, all the branches flowing this way and this one branch just won't go off this way. So he says it's going to hinder the fruit on these branches that it's connected to, so I got to go ahead and that crossing branch. See, God gave us this analogy of the tree, not me. So I got to go ahead and cut that away. Now, you get these vertical branches, number 4. And these vertical branches are dangerous. And I'm going to tell you why. Remember it said that the vertical branch wants to act like or take the place of the trunk. Now, the trunk is the foundation and is the centerpiece and is the head of the tree. But the vertical branch begins to grow and gets big, and the vertical branch begins to say, I can do what the trunk can do. We don't need no trunk, we got me. And if you actually think about it, I'm sitting a little higher than the trunk. So the vertical branch begins to get what we call an ego. The vertical branch are those branches you're connected to, those people we're connected to who got a big head. They dress better than you. They talk better than you. They more educated than you. They got a better job than you. They make more money than you. So they want to walk around like they the big tree trunk. And they really don't understand you nothing but a vertical branch. And in due season, you're going to get cut away anyway. So don't look down on me because I'm that thin growing horizontal branch that's not as strong as you right now. But in due season, I'm growing at the rate God wants me to grow. See, the horizontal branch is trying to force itself to grow. But I'm going to grow how God designed me to grow. It's a difference. It's a difference between forcing this thing and letting God orchestrate this thing. It's a difference. There's a lot of people that force themselves into positions, but it was never orchestrated by God. So you find yourself getting connected to some vertical branches. And it said with these